Bitcoin, again, this is playing out exactly as I drew it up for the last month or so. Your topping tail was my first indicator that Bitcoin would struggle a little bit. We had a bear flag off of that topping tail, which told me it was going to break down. It did about a week ago. It goes right into this level, which happened to be this high pivot here. That obviously is technical support. And now it's retraced into the scene of the crime. Now, this should be big resistance. We did see Bitcoin pull back. And again,
Gareth Soloway shares sharp insights on Bitcoin and crypto trends.
I would in general expect resistance until proven otherwise. And even if it gets through this line, this high area here will still be resistance. And then you even have resistance at the topping tail high. Now, if it eclipses the topping tail high, then it's off to the races, right? Then it can, assuming it closes and confirms above that, off to the races probably to 130, 135. Who knows where it goes. But right now, this is fighting a lot of resistance here. Then it has resistance here and all the way up to about 123 on the chart. If it turns down and breaks 111,800, 108,000 is your technical support. ETH is looking strong here, guys. ETH is breaking above the resistance level. Again, that's a beautiful move to the upside. Again, if this continues up, there's not a ton of upside here, and I'll show you why. This former pivot high is at 4,100. That's my next target for resistance. We got to about 44,000. What was that? 4,000 and basically a little over $4,000 today. And then it has kind of stalled out here. But nonetheless, at this point, folks, to me, there should be a little bit more upside in ETH, but it is limited. It's going to face its first big test at 4,100 on that chart.
After just 8 months in the role, Bo Hines, President Trump's top crypto advisor, has stepped down from his position as executive director of the Presidential Council of Advisors for Digital Assets. Hines, who was appointed in December, announced he will return to the private sector, but vowed to continue supporting the crypto industry from outside government. Under Hines' leadership, the White House Crypto Council launched high-profile initiatives such as the Crypto Summit, the Genius Act, and the Digital Assets Report. David Sachs, the White House's AI and crypto chief, praised Hines for his work, noting his ability to set a bold direction for the nation's digital asset policy. Patrick Witt, currently the council's deputy director, is expected to take over alongside Harry Jung from the CFTC to advance the council's recommendations and push for the Clarity Act. Hines had big ambitions. He worked to make the United States the crypto capital of the world, championing innovation-friendly regulation and drafting a landmark July 2025 report that laid out a market-oriented framework for digital assets. He also pushed for the creation of a national Bitcoin reserve, suggesting budget-neutral ways to build it, such as reallocating seized assets. While his Bitcoin reserve plan sparked debate, Hines leaves behind a legacy of breaking down barriers and setting the stage for America's crypto future.
All right, let's go into gold here real quick and see what gold has in store for us. Gold basically ending the day flattish on the day, right into this key long-term trend line, which is also very close to this major downsloping. So you are still into resistance on gold, but if you're a bull and gold can break and confirm above this, let's say, 34.15-ish area, if it can close and confirm above there, then you could be headed back to 3,500, breaks 3,500, you're going to 4,000. And by the way, right now you have to respect the resistance because that's what technical analysis teaches us, to kind of put our personal beliefs aside. But mid to long term, the chart is still very bullish. It's just struggling here in the near term at key resistance. All right, next up, let's look at silver. Silver today was flat on the day going into the weekend. You have a little bit of a downward move with a little bearish pattern. We wouldn't call this an in spirit of bear flag because it's a little steep, but it's still slightly. It's about a 60% favoring downside, which again is not that much more than 50-50, frankly. But remember, the angles, like I showed you at the beginning, determine the probability. So again, we go from, a classic bear flag, which favors the downside, to 75%, to an in spirit of, which is like 70%. You get to like a little bit of a steeper angle like this, and it honestly goes to about the 60%-ish range. And even if it was steeper, it'd be even 50-50. But right now, again, still slightly favors the downside, but again, not tremendously. My buy level, if it does dump, is around 34.65. And on the upside, if you're a bull, you got to see this 39.50 level on silver get taken out. That is your level that we have to listen. We have to respect it. Why do we have to respect it? Because it's proven that literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 hits in a row over the span of basically, since 2022 here? Yeah. So basically in 2.5 years, 6 hits, it has rejected it every single time. And so who are we as individuals, unless we're using emotion, to assume it's going to break above that? And that's really what I want to get to you guys, is to understand that we are not trying to reinvent anything. As traders, if you're a trader like me, if you're an investor like me, we always let our emotions kind of take over, and we believe, oh, it's going to do this because I really want it to, so I'm going to believe in it. Markets don't care. Price is truth, and technical analysis has proven for decades, if not millennia, that it has worked. And listen, believe it or not, you can go back and chart things like the Tulip Mania. You can chart stuff in like ancient Egypt, like all of this stuff. They used to do this stuff, right? I mean, the commodities were around forever. So you have to understand that human emotion rules, and that's why that plays out. Human emotion plays out in charts, and that's why it works, because human emotion doesn't change. It doesn't change. Greed and fear doesn't change, folks. It is the same every time. That's why you see the same bubble tendencies. Like in 2021, the euphoria of GameStop, AMC, and everything that was going on, that marked a high before a bear market. In 1999 to 2000, the dot-com craziness marked a high before. The greed was the same. I mean, it certainly is over different things. Dot-coms, crypto in 2021. So dot-coms was 99, 2000. Crypto, 2021, and like AMC. But it's the same emotion, right? It's the same base level human emotion. And that's why, again, technical analysis to me is the go-to, because people don't change. We don't change. It is what it is. In 100 years, people will still have greed and fear. 1,000 years, people still have greed and fear.
Economist Hamlik Zeeberg is sounding the alarm on Bitcoin's vulnerability, warning that the leading cryptocurrency is far from the safe haven asset many believe it to be. Instead, he describes BTC as a highly risk-prone investment that moves almost in lockstep with the Nasdaq. In a recent post on X, Zeeberg pointed to years of price data showing the two markets rising and falling together with remarkable precision. The link, he explained, comes from their shared ties to the technology sector. Bitcoin, much like high-growth tech stocks, tends to shine when investors are in a risk-on mood and falters quickly when sentiment turns cautious. Zeeberg believes we're in the middle of what he calls Tech Bubble 2. Charts he shared show the Nasdaq surging to record highs alongside Bitcoin's rebound, while the U.S. market capitalization to GDP ratio sits at 226%, well above its historical norm and even higher than before the 2008 financial crisis. He warns that when the Nasdaq bubble bursts, Bitcoin could crater in response. Even a drop back to 2022 levels, he notes, would leave valuations dangerously inflated. For now, Bitcoin continues to trade strongly, holding above $110,000 and recently climbing to $116,622, up nearly 4% for the week. But Zeeberg's message is clear: euphoria may not last forever.
If you have been watching so far, thank you so much for watching, and do not forget to subscribe to Bitcoin Zella for daily news, all for free. That's all for today's video. Until next time.